Caroline's question about patterns on multiplication, on the multiplication times tables. Now, I had I did a video last week. Was it last week or the week before, for a lady, Caroline, within the Maths Fund group, who left a message about what she would like to support her child with and what she would like to know from me, that I could, some sort of tips that I could give. And in there I mentioned about the fact that most of the times tables actually have some patterns to it, and learning those patterns and actually knowing those patterns and passing it on to your children would actually help to get them on knowing it more, and being able to recall it quite easily, because they're going to really need that for mental math. So I'm going to go through I love the 9 times table. There are sort of 3 different ways I could do that. So I don't know if I've done that video before in the group for the 9 times table, or maybe we've done it by PDF and maybe not by video. So instead of doing that one, I'll go through the 12 times table one instead. Now, if you look at the 12 times table, and I should have had a board around here, shouldn't I, really? I'll run through it quickly, and I can always redo the video if you need me to on a board. And please don't hesitate to ask me to redo it if you want it on a board. I can actually write it out and makes it easier, of course, to see. I should have known that, like, no-brainer, isn't it? So if you look at the 12 times table, 12 times 1 is 12, so you've got the 1 and the 2 beside it. But 12 times 2 is 24. So if you look at the 1 at the top, if you sort of place them above each other, you've got the 12 and then you've got the 24. You can see that the numbers on the left-hand side would increase by 1s, and the numbers on the right-hand side would increase by 2s. So you've got the 1, 2, 3. So literally, if you just sort of wrote all the way down, 1 to, I would say, 1 to 8 initially, so got 1 to 8, and then on the right-hand side of it, if you just sort of go 2, 4, 6, on the same rows, so you've got the 1 to 8, and then right beside 1, for example, you've got 2, and right beside 2, you've got 4, and right beside 3, you've got 6, right beside 4, you've got 8. So you see that on the right-hand side, it's increasing in 2s. Not only is it increasing in 2s, but also if you look at the left-hand side, if you just multiply that by 2, then you still have that number on the right-hand side as well. So when you get to 7, for example, you'll have 14, wouldn't you? Now, if you write the 4 down and then add the 1 to that 7 that you have there, so that turns to 8, so you then have 84. And then the same with 9 to 6, because then you'd have the 8 on the right hand side. Multiply that by 2, that's a 6, right? So then if you put that 6 right there on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side, change the 8 to 9. So literally, the first sort of 8 you've already done, that's 9 to 6. Now 12 times 9, I always say the important thing is to just remember that that's 108. Just remember it. So you tell your child to always remember 12 times 9. So if they're writing out the times table, they can leave the spaces for 1 to 8 and go write that first for the first 8 rows. Leave the space for the first 8 rows and go write the one that they're likely to forget first, like 12 times 9, which is 108. Which the good thing is, it's really only 2 significant numbers, 108, so the 1 and the 8 are the 2 significant numbers in the 108. So keeping that in mind makes it easy for them to remember. And then, of course, 12 times 10 is then 120, which is quite easy because all they've got to do is put the 0 behind the 12. And then they've just got to remember also 12 times 11 and 12 times 12, so 132, 12 times 11, and the 144. So if you think about it, really, the only ones that they have to remember within the 12 times table after doing the patterning is really the 12 times 9, 12 times 11, and 12 times 12. And then they've got the whole full times table. So now writing that over would help them to remember that, easily. And also, even if they're doing it mentally, once they remember what number there was before, so for example, they get to 12 times 4, and they remember that the one before was 36, they just remember about increasing the 3 on the left hand side to the 1, and then on the right hand side, the 6 becomes 8. Yeah, hope that's clear. Let me know if you've got any questions. And that's just one of the patterns that I promised that I was going to leave videos for, that Caroline Fisher asked for. So thank you, Caroline. Please let me know if this is helpful, and please ask questions everybody else, and I hope this helps.